Russia submits a draft statement to the UN Security Council to prevent the purchase of oil from terrorists in Syria. A citizen is killed, others wounded, and suffocation cases are reported among Palestinians in the Zionist aggression on the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy is held by the French authorities pending investigation in a corruption case. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. Russia has submitted a draft statement to the chairman of the UN Security Council calling for standing against the illegitimate purchase of oil from terrorists in Syria, affirming that any export or import of oil without the approval of the sovereign state is illegal. The draft statement expresses concern over the ability of terrorist groups to take over oil fields in Syria and strongly rejects any participation in direct or indirect trade with Syrian oil. The statement affirms that taking part in such kind of transactions is equivalent to offering financial support to the organizations which are considered by the UN Special Committee as terrorist. The draft statement urges the UN Security Council's members to take the necessary measures to prevent the involvement of its citizens, organizations and individuals inside their territories in concluding any trade or financial deals related to crude oil in Syria if their source has nothing to do with the Syrian government. The Syrian Arab Army continues to pursue terrorists in the mountains between the Syrian and Lebanese borders. The Syrian Arab Army has found a terrorist camp containing 3 booby-trapped cars, 2 of which are carrying Lebanese plates and are provided with smuggled and stolen medical equipment. The Iraqi parliament has opened its first session headed by Dr. Mehdi Al-Hafez, the senior member. The MPs were sworn in. Dr. Hafez stressed the need of putting an end to the present turbulent security situation in Iraq, affirming the need to make the parliament a center of legislation and supervision. He said recovering security and stability is an essential precondition for development and reform. Discussion centered during the session on ways of solving the political crisis in Iraq and means of maintaining coordination among the various political blocs to confront the dangers threatening Iraq, particularly represented in the terrorist groups that wreaked havoc in some regions. The Iraqi people hope this session would come out with positive results, leading to the unification of the political forces at this critical stage to support the Iraqi army in the face of the terrorists and the attempts to shake up Iraq's security. On the latest developments on the ground in Iraq, Iraqi security forces eliminated 13 terrorists from the so-called the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. Among the terrorists killed, there was Abu Bakr al-Shishani in Kirkuk. The Iraqi military and security forces also purged the villages of Sharwin from the terrorists, destroying their vehicles and ammunition. Meanwhile, the Iraqi army raided the terrorists' hideouts, defusing the explosive devices left by them, and continued to pursue the terrorists in Salah ad-Din and Diyala provinces. Welcome back. In occupied Palestine, a Palestinian young man was killed and many others injured as the Israeli aggression was escalated in the West Bank and Gaza Strip during the last few hours. The Israeli forces of occupation assassinated a Palestinian in a barbaric aggression on Jenin refugee camp. In cold blood, the Israeli forces of occupation opened fire at a Palestinian young man in a vehicle, killing him on the spot. The heinous crime by the Israeli occupation aroused anger among the residents of Jenin, who clashed with the occupiers. The occupation forces continued their raid on the camp and the nearby Jenin city, using great numbers of Israeli soldiers, injuring dozens of Palestinians. The Israeli forces of occupation also pressed ahead in their brutal aggression on the city of Hebron, turning it into a military barracks. In Gaza Strip, 4 Palestinians were injured as Israeli aircraft, including F-16, carried out several airstrikes in several areas, devastating the Palestinians' houses and land. The International Journalists Federation has issued a decision to expel Israel from the Federation's membership. Member of the Federation's Executive Committee, Mehdi Al-Hafez, said the Federation took this decision during its meetings held on the 28th and 29th of last June at its headquarters in Brussels with the approval of 14 out of 17 states. The decision is an expression of the Federation's rejection of the Israeli crimes and racist and barbaric policy pursued against the Palestinians and the Arabs. Al-Hafez said the Federation has unanimously decided to reject the subscription application presented by members of the so-called Syrian Opposition Journalists Society. A Libyan colonel, Musa Ibrahim al-Mujaybari, was assassinated by armed men on his way out of a mosque in Benghazi, where he was with his son, who escaped death. Finally, former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been held by the French authorities pending investigation into a corruption case. He will be interrogated by the anti-corruption squad investigators at the French judicial policy for a period that may last for 24 hours. This development occurred at a time when he was expected to resume political activity and recover the presidency of his party, Union for a Popular Movement, that has been facing trouble as a result of forged invoices. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short